What up, people? Welcome to a brand new edition of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast, featuring the one and only Mike Steph, best in the world at what he does. Yes, I make my grand return to this StreamYard platform. I make this grand return to my trusty old couch. I make this grand return to trying to do things professional like. I.e. the laptop, i.e. this camera, i.e. this microphone, i.e. these headphones, i.e. my humble abode. Man, y'all have no idea how much fun I actually do have recording on my phone in my car. It's a great feeling. It's a feeling of carelessness, but in a good way. In a good way. Because without dealing with StreamYard, I wouldn't just throw about in and out Wi-Fi, which is not on my end, but it's on StreamYard's end. I wouldn't have to worry about platform when I'm in my car and I use my Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus and I record in crisp 4K vision so you can see all the nooks and crannies. As a matter of fact, you can see all the splendor and life-like fashion. But you need to hear there. I'm back. Because I got 3 topics that I'm going to talk about. But before I even tell you about these topics, let me first and foremost thank each and every one of y'all for making me the platform y'all choose to view and the platform y'all choose to listen to. Also, and perhaps more importantly, I would like to thank all of the new subscribers that I've gotten to the Mike Steph channel on YouTube over the last couple weeks. It's greatly appreciated. You are greatly appreciated. And I will do my damnedest to hold up to my end of the bargain. And when you press that button to subscribe, you press that button because evidently I must have something that you like, that you like. I must have done something that piqued your interest. I must have done something to make you want to do something and press that subscribe button. So I truly appreciate you and I thank you kindly. The last couple weeks, I know I have been wrestling centric. Like, matter of fact, I've been totally on wrestling. The WrestleMania Memory Series, the WrestleMania Recap, the Raw after WrestleMania, the whole 9. And I'm going to continue talking and have discussion with this NBA postseason. And I've held off as long as I can hold off without talking about my Knicks in total. So this episode, I will talk about my Knicks and their latest victory against the Detroit Pistons, and to take a 3-1 lead in the best of 7 first round series. So I will talk about that. I will talk about Shedeur Sanders of now the Cleveland Browns. But Shedeur Sanders falling all the way to the beginning of the 5th round. I think pick 144 to be exact. After he was touted to be at least a top 20 pick, definitely a first rounder. And my take on what exactly happened, my take on what was trying to be accomplished, and my take on what I currently feel about his foreseeable future. Yes. And last but not least, of course, I was trying to stay away from the subject, I actually told myself I was going to stay away from the subject, that I was not going to voice my opinions on said subject publicly. But certain things came out, certain conversations were had, and listen, letting y'all know right now, for my newer viewers, Mike Steph is all about the jokes. Even when it's, listen, even when it's not politically correct, I'm all about the jokes. And unfortunately, Shannon Sharpe is going to be the target of said jokes. Shannon Sharpe last week on Easter Sunday got a $50 million lawsuit thrown at him due to sexual assault accusations, some sexual proprieties, some S&M perhaps seemed like, and looks like he didn't take care of what he needed to take care of. But besides that, some audio came out, and right now he said he took time away from ESPN. More likely, ESPN put his ass on the bench until this gets settled. And I think even if it gets settled, I would be shocked to see him back on the airwaves of ESPN ever again. Yeah. So that's what's on tap this week. But I'm going to do something a little different because, like, why not? You know, sometimes you got to spice things up. Sometimes you got to just go off the cuff. Sometimes you just got to switch things up. And that's what I'm going to do. Normally, I have my smoke and mirror segment for the end of the program. The program, as Pat McAfee would say. But this week, I'm going to combine smoke and mirrors. You're always smoking mirrors. Whoa! You're only smoking mirrors tonight. Yes, I'm going to combine smoke and mirrors with the rapidly popular segment that I've totally ripped off from my brothers at Gimmick Infringement, Trap Tales. Trap Tales was a segment that my brothers from Gimmick Infringement would have detailing their experiences at said gym. Their gym experiences, their workout experiences, so forth. You know, Tyler going 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning to the gym to get some shots up and seeing some inappropriate behavior by basketball dads, basketball moms, whatever. You know, Brad going to the gym, detailing his workouts, his leg day, his arm day, his chest day, and so forth. So I said, you know what? Since I started going to the gym probably about a month and a half ago on a steady basis, I said, you know what? I'm going to have fun with this. I'm going to give everybody my salty trap tales. But the reason why it's going to be a combination of salty trap tales and smoke and mirrors is because they're actually combined this week. Due to my lovely wife, who is in the room, hopefully she has her earphones in so she does not hear what is going to come out of my spout. Because it's nothing bad. It's just maybe she just doesn't want me to expose it to the whole world. But I am in need of content. I'm a content creator, even though I hate that term. So I am going to use the content that was dropped in my lap, dropped in my lap, and I'm going to use it to get some jokes in. So, without further ado, let me give you the video of this week's Salty Trap Tales. Yes. I was doing the damn thing today. Matter of fact, so much I got to do it again. Tell you the truth, I had to do it again because I wanted to give y'all double the view. The before and the after. You haven't told that I just came from my Dominican barber of choice, which leads into this segment. So I went to the gym. As you can see, I was putting in work. I did the Broadway on the treadmill. I burned about 600 and some odd calories on the treadmill. But when you do such things, you build up a sweat. Now, for all of those who don't know, Mike Steph is smell blind. I told that somebody, and somebody was like, "How people come up with these sayings? Like, where did you get that from?" The fuck did I just say? I said I'm smell blind. Some people are visually blind. I'm smell blind. The fuck is the problem? I call myself that. If that's how I want to entitle it, guess what? That's my effing prerogative. But I digress. So, I know that I don't stink, right? I use my Arm & Hammer deodorant that I've been using for, about close to 30 years. People talk about, all that aluminum is not healthy for you. Listen, I've been using Arm & Hammer for 30 years. Because guess what? Without it, you would probably smell me from here to Glendale, Arizona. But regardless, so I know that I don't stink per se, but I can't smell sweat. I can't smell the damn thick, nothing. It comes from growing up in a household with secondhand smoke before they realized the danger of secondhand smoke. Like my wall when I was growing up was beige. I thought they just painted it beige. No, that was nicotine. That was tobacco. Either here or there. Listen, so be it, right? Not ashamed. That's the environment I grew up in. I ended up becoming a smoker for about 20, going on and off for 25 years, whatever. But clean and sober now, everything's okay. Neither here nor there. So when I go to the gym and I work up that lather, like my t-shirt is soaking wet, and as you can tell through my videos, I wear a hoodie because I want to lose that body, that water weight. Also, I want to sweat. I really want to sweat. I want to work up a sweat. I want to work up more than a lather, right? So work up that lather. I mean, sometimes I'm sweating so much I could probably wring out my undershirt or my t-shirt and probably feel like a half a cup. That's how much I sweat. There's a reason why I sweat that much, but it's none of your business. Neither here nor there, right? So today, or should I say, what's been a habit of mine is when I do this on Sunday, I go to the gym on Sunday, I am not going to come back outside. So I try to do all my little errands while I'm outside, right? So I'll go to the gym. Today, there happened to be the Brooklyn half marathon. So traffic was messed up. So I drove like 2 blocks. Took me 20 minutes to drive 2 blocks. I'm like, you know what? Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to park this car right here, and I'm going to walk to the gym. And I'm going to walk back. Because that's normally what I would do on Sundays, but I've gotten lazy. I got enough time to air out, but got to stop at the grocery store. My wife went some veggie cheese. Got to get some bread. A haircut. It's that time for me to get a haircut. And that's where the smoke and mirrors part come in. So I go to my Dominican barber of choice, Jolane. Yeah. So I get there and perfect timing. Giovanni's just chilling because he don't got no clients. Go right in, right? But I'm still sweaty. I mean, I've dried off and everything, but you know, still straight from the gym. So, being the fact that I tip him well, and being the fact that he is a considerate person, he probably hasn't nudged me, even though I know I'm quite sure as soon as I walk out the door, I don't know the Spanish word for sweaty, but best believe they're probably talking about me in the barbershop. I don't give a fuck. I got my lineup, I got my haircut, you got your money. Perfect transaction, right? Feel sorry for anybody who comes behind me, but that's not my problem because I'm on my way. I'm gone. So do the same thing, close my eyes, everything, and I hear people come in. How many you got? You got one. Oh, yeah. How many you got? You got two, whatever. So he's starting to get business, right? So when I'm finished, cause I get my haircut with my eyes closed. Because like, listen, I trust. You're not gonna cut me. So finish, I get up and I'm darn. I wonder. Um, I know this mother effer probably gonna be talking to me like a dog, like, yo, your son smells sweet. Long as my thing is, long as I don't smell musty, as long as I'm not funky, as long as I'm not, Eric Sermon under the arms, Funk Lord. I'm cool. I'm cool. Listen, you get what I got on. I got the sweatsuit on. I got the running stuff on. Like, so, all right. So, long story short, I get in the crib, right? And I go in the room, say hi to my wife upon my return. And I told her, I was like, and I opened myself up for this. I was like, man, you know what? I really probably do need to stop going to the gym. I mean, going to the barbershop right straight from the gym. And she's like, yeah, you probably do, because that's not nice. I'm like, I get it. And then she's like, matter of fact, can you take your clothes off in the bathroom? So I asked her, I'm like, wow, really? She started giggling. But she dead serious, like, just stink ass out the room. So, because I'm about to go to the shower before I come in here and start giving the masses what all the news that they can use. So I come back in and I'm like, hey, really? Like, I stink? She said, you smell sweat. No, I was like, do I stink? Or do I smell sweaty? She said, you got a strong, sweaty smell. I'm like, okay. She's like, yeah, but it's strong. I was like, no, listen, I can't smell. She's like, but so you should stop going to the barber right after the gym. Like, come on, take a shower, then go to the barber. I'm like, no, I'd rather go to the barber, get that shit taken care of, than come home and do everything at once. Shower, brush my hair, the whole nine. Instead of taking a shower, then go to the barber shop, then coming back home and washing my hair. But I get what she's saying. It's inconsiderate. But I just had to ask him, like, babe, what? She said, no, sweaty. I'm like, listen, I know people probably like, what's the difference? It's a big difference. It's a big difference. You don't want to be known as that musty nigga. You don't want to be known as that stink ass dude. But people could tell sweat and you dirty. Sweat, that means how it's working. Stink, that means you dirty. It's a difference. So that's my edition, my return edition of whoa! It's only smoking mirrors tonight. With all that being said, let's get this show on the road. Without further ado, good night and goodbye. Bang!
to Mike Steph, this marks a new beginning. Thanks for supporting a total reinvention. The soul is still here, but the vibe's a little different. Unpredictable, hide the kids and the women. Sports of all sorts, music mixed for living. Rep New York City, but hate the politicians. Always bring the heat, Steph bacon in the kitchen. Big shout to y'all, I appreciate the listen. Donnie put the rest, but I'm still in the best. In the word of what I do, all y'all know the rest. I live it, I breathe it, I'm the whole definition. The pinnacle, the ultimate, I'm on a new mission. The salty thoughts of Mike Steph, featuring the one and only Mike Steph, the best in the world at what he does. Tap in.
My New York Knicks beat the Detroit Pistons in Game 4 to take a 3-1 series lead. But, of course, it would not be a Knicks playoff game without a little bit of controversy. I mean, what kills me about this controversy right now is the fact that you want to be the new incarnation of the bad boys from Detroit, but yet you want to bitch and moan about a call that wasn't made, the amount of times. Even look at this picture that I'm showing to you right now. Pushing a Knicks player in midair, right? But no. Here's another one. Foul. But I'm going to read, courtesy of Yahoo Sports, the depiction of the last couple seconds and why Pistons coach J.B. Bickerstaff, you know, that former coach of the Cavaliers, who which we dispatched in orderly fashion 2 years ago in the first round, had to say. The New York Knicks escaped Detroit with a wild 1-point win on Sunday afternoon, which pushed them to a 3-1 lead in their opening rounds playoff series against the Pistons. The win, though, only came after a very controversial no call in the final seconds that sent Pistons coach J.B. Bickerstaff storming after the officials on the court at Little Caesars Arena while the Knicks players celebrated around them. The Pistons had the ball down by a single point with 11.1 seconds left on the clock and were looking for a game winner. Piston star Cade Cunningham took a shot from the left elbow, but was just off the mark. After a scramble for the ball under the rim, the Pistons kicked it out to Tim Hardaway Jr. in the corner, who had just enough time to put up a shot before the buzzer sounded. But as Hardaway faked first, he drew a lot of contact from Knick guard Josh Hart as he went up for the shot. Now, I'm sorry. I saw that. I saw that play. I didn't see no contact. Yes, am I biased? Yeah, but I didn't see no contact. And the reason why, okay, it says Hardaway was actually knocked into a row of photographers on the baseline and his shot missed the rim entirely. No. That's not what happened. That is not what happened. I am going to risk, matter of fact, the best thing to do is to do this with no sound. And maybe, just maybe, I can get by my copyright infringements. Here we go. Oh. Damn it. Matter of fact. Okay, here we go. Does that look like a foul? That looked like an out-of-control play. Here again, one more time. First, we got the miss by their superstar, right? No foul. One last time, because I'm really no foul. There was no foul on the play. But But Mr. Bickerstaff, he wants to go after people, right? He wants to go after people, right? Look at Cat. Look at Cat. Look at the fake superstar. Yeah, I'm talking shit right now because we have 3-1. If we would have lost the game, this whole conversation would be totally different. I know it would be totally different. But I'm going to read the box score. I'm going to read the box score because Jalen Brunson injured his leg, or he left the game due to injury. Came back out and scored 15 points in the fourth quarter. He couldn't even put weight on his leg when he left. And I'm not going to lie. I'm watching the majority of this game while I'm on the treadmill. And even though we was up 7 at the half, we was up 16. Detroit cut it to a 7-point lead with a 9-0 run at the end of the first half. And the majority of that half, they played like crap. And the only reason why they was in that game because we just could not extend the lead. And I was like, you know what? This is going to come back and bite us in the butt. And in the third quarter, it came back and bit us in the butt. They held us to 14 points. It was 28-14 in the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, with I believe a little bit over 7 minutes left to play, they were up 10 points. And they choked. I don't want to hear it. They choked. We won. We snatched the game away from them, and they choked. Listen, I have dear colleagues, dear friends that are Piston fans, but I'm going to call a spade a spade. The Pistons choked. They choked harder than Shannon Sharpe was going to choke old girl. Yeah, I said it. So, you know what? I'm not going to go there. But when you're up 10 at home with a chance to tie up the series in the last quarter, in the final quarter, I don't want to hear no excuses. I don't want to hear, oh, it was so much contact. What about this contact? This wasn't a foul. What about this contact? That wasn't a foul. Listen, the one thing about this series that I was leery of, not so much that we were going to lose the series. I was leery about how much was going to be taken out of us during this series because the Pistons, their philosophy is like, we might not win, but we're going to take a chunk out of you. We might not win, but we're going to fuck you up. We might not win, but you're going to feel out. You're going to feel our pain. The Pistons, they only have one player. That one player is Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham had a triple-double. 25 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 4 blocks, and probably numerous amounts of turnovers. This second leading scorer was Tobias Harris. Everybody knows what Tobias Harris brings. Absolutely, positively nothing. He had 18 points, but he wasn't a factor. Mr. Tim Hardaway Jr., 14 points, 5 of 16 shooting. Non-mother effing factor. They had 13 points off the bench from Beasley. If Beasley not giving them 15 to 25, they don't have a second scorer. So they pretty much got to grind it down. But the difference is the Knicks, when you grinded it down and slowed the pace to a halt, the Knicks' skills, their skilled players actually benefited from that. Go one-on-one. All right, throw it down to the post. All right, let Jalen bake. That's a recipe for disaster for you. Also, what the league and what reporters have failed to document and failed to notice over the last, especially the last 2 postseasons. Vincent Goodwill of Yahoo Sports keeps on harping upon the fact of, Jalen Brunson is only 6'1", and history says that when your best player is 6'1", you cannot be totally dependent on a 6'1" player because you're not gonna get to the promised land. Okay, and there's only one person that has done that as the best player on their team, and that's Isaiah Thomas, who is like I was an Isaiah fan when he was playing. I still remember that. What was it, Game 6 against the Lakers before they won the championship? The year before they won the championship, when he sprained his ankle and he dropped 37, 39 on one leg. So I get it, but that's also Vinny Goodwill is from Detroit. I rest my case. Listen, I let my bias be known. I let everybody know I'm go New York, go New York, go New York, go New York, go. I know. I let everybody know where my bread is buttered. But to get back on the point, what people have failed to document, has failed to really appreciate about Jalen Brunson is the first 2 games of the series, he always has a rough first game or 2 from the series because, all right, he's going in there, right? All right, this is my game plan. But what's underrated about him and why he is so clutch, why he was the clutch player of the year, is that his basketball IQ is immaculate. It's impeccable. He's a student of the game. He's a student of the matchup that he has. So he's going in with a game plan. And then his adjustments during the series are top notch. I saw that last year against the Philly, against Philly. I saw that again against Indy before he got hurt. And this year against Detroit, starting to figure it out. By the end of each game, he has figured out what he needs to do for that particular game. But as a series overall, he's starting to figure out, okay, this is what I need to do. Like, I'm going to go right now. I'm going to look. Okay. This is his line score for the 4 games in this series. Game 1, 40 minutes played, 34 points scored, 12 of 27, 8 assists. They won. Game 2, 43 minutes played, 37 points scored, 12 of 27, 7 assists, but it was a different game. He tried to take over too early. He didn't get anybody else involved. And he said, okay. Game 3, guess what? He took a step back. 9 of 20. 9 assists. 30 points. This game, shot 50% from the field. 13 of 26. 11 assists. And he not only did he have 11 assists, he had 6 assists in the first quarter. That was, okay, you know what? Got to feed Cat. Got to get Hart into the game. I got to get OG into the game. Even though OG and Bridges had horrendous offensive games, OG was 3 of 13 and Bridges with 3 of 12. By them getting the touches early, engaged them on the defensive end. Karl Anthony Towns is going to get his. He's going to get his. And by him getting involved early, even though he's once again in foul trouble, him getting involved early kept him engaged. Like, all right, it's not just the Cap show. All right, it's the Cap and Cat show. And in the fourth quarter, he hit those 2 big shots that in the game winning 3. What else is to say? Now, before I end this segment, I predicted Knicks in 6. My homie, my bro, Money Mike, he predicted Knicks in 5. Just got a text from him earlier. Told you, it's over in 5. I hope it is over in 5. Yeah, I would love for us to actually clinch a series at home. But I'm not going to put the carriage before the horse. Knicks in 5, Knicks in 6, regardless. I want it to be in 5 because whatever tweak Brunson had, we need to get this series over with because all the Pistons are going to be doing is headhunting. Stewart probably might come back, and that's the goon. That's the goony goo goo. And they're going to try, you know what, we ain't win this series, but guess what? Y'all not going into the next series healthy. Best believe they're going to have some bounty gate type crap going on. So, first time. Oh, felt good. Felt good. I'm going to talk about Golden State. No, not in your life. Not today. Shoot. Well, I'm going to be like Arya Stark. Not today. So, yeah. Great game. Tough, hard-fought game. And we still got to clean a lot of stuff up. But I'm confident. Now, that with this 3-1 cushion, yeah, ain't going 7. Hopefully, it doesn't go 6. Next game, Tuesday. And, birthday shout-out to the homie, to my bro, D. Clark. Happy born day, bro. And, yeah. On to the next. Shedeur Sanders dropped from presumptive first-round pick in this past weekend's NFL draft all the way down to the 5th round, being selected by the Cleveland Browns with the 144th pick of the draft. He was projected to be at least the 3rd quarterback chosen in a weak quarterback draft. But yet, he was selected in the 5th round, 144th pick. All of his weaknesses and shortcomings were there prior to where everybody's like, well, he's not that fleet of foot. He doesn't have a rocket arm, and his arrogance, and he turns a lot of people off. Exactly. So I asked, was it personal? Did they want to humble him? Why did they want to humble him? Now, right before I started recording, there was news prior that somebody prank called Shedeur Sanders during the draft, and today I found out who it was. Jax Ulbrich. I want you to see my face for this. Jax Ulbrich. Ulbrich. You're probably wondering, darn, that name sounds familiar. That name has a familiar ring to it. Ulbrich. Yeah, well, if you're a listener and viewer that told you Dr. Mike Steph, that's the New York Jets former head coach, former defensive coordinator, and now current defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons, Jeff Ulbrich. So Jax, spelled with J-A-X. Yeah, that's his son. So I'm going to read verbatim exactly what happened. And this is courtesy of Yahoo Sports once again. The mystery of how quarterback Shedeur Sanders was prank called during the NFL draft has been solved. On Sunday, the Atlanta Falcons confirmed that 21-year-old son of defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich was behind the prank after coming across the phone number of Sanders' special draft phone. The Falcons released a statement explaining the situation and offering sincere apologies to Sanders, which is crazy because didn't his father, prime time, Neon Deion Sanders, the great Deion Sanders played for this franchise over 30 years ago? But I continue. The Falcons released a statement explaining the situation and offering sincere apologies to Sanders and his family. In the meantime, Ulbrich's son, Jax, posted a public apology to Sanders on Instagram, both as a post and as a story. On Friday night, I made a tremendous mistake. Shedeur, what I did was completely inexcusable, embarrassing, and shameful. I'm so sorry I took away from your moment. It was childish and it was selfish. Jax Ulbrich wrote in the apology. I could never imagine getting ready to celebrate one of the greatest moments of your life, and I made a terrible mistake and messed with that moment. Ulbrich added that he had called Sanders earlier to apologize and thanked them for accepting the call. I hope you could find it in your heart to forgive me. The Falcons said in their statement that Jax Ulbrich unintentionally came across the number of Sanders' draft phone on an open iPad while visiting his parents and wrote it down. Atlanta said that Jeff Ulbrich, and I want y'all to see my face. Atlanta said that Jeff Ulbrich was unaware about the leak and the prank until after the fact. My ass. And I wonder why my team was 5-13 and running amok last year, because this is who the F they had at the helm. Jeff freaking Ulbrich. First of all, why was his information just willy-nilly available on an open iPad? I guess he never suspected that his Neanderthal son would come across said number and do such an unthinkable thing, unthinkable act. In the statement, the Atlanta Falcons do not condone this behavior and send our sincere apologies to Shedeur Sanders and his family, who we have been in contact with to apologize to, as well as facilitate an apology directly from Jax to the Sanders family, the team wrote in a statement. The Falcons also said that they are in contact with the NFL and will cooperate in any investigation into the incident. The team added that it's thoroughly reviewing all protocols to keep any similar incidents from happening in the future. That's just salt on the wound. That's salt on the wound of what happened, what happened to Shedeur over the weekend. And people are talking about, oh no, don't bring race into it. Don't bring race into it. He just wasn't that good. Oh no, can't bring race into it because Cam Ward was a black quarterback and he was selected number 1. No, don't fall for the okie doke. Don't fall for the okie doke. You know why people are bringing race into it? You want to know why I'm going to bring race into it? For this simple fact. That other people have espoused, but it's my turn to espouse on it also. People are saying, well, Deion didn't do his son any favors by trying to dictate where his son was going to go publicly and say, well, I don't want my son going here. This team better not draft him. He's not going to da. He was talking as a father to a son. He was talking about as a father, a parent who already knew what the NFL was about and knows what the majority of these franchises are about. And he has nothing to lose by saying such, except for the pettiness bestowed upon his son by them intentionally making sure that he was embarrassed throughout the weekend. Listen. Okay, for instance, I'll say that for a minute. But they made sure they embarrassed him throughout the weekend. He didn't drop to day 2. He dropped to day 3. He didn't drop to the second round or the third. He dropped to the 4th. No, he dropped to the 5th. The team that ultimately selected him passed him over 4 times and selected the quarterback before they selected him. Almost like, all right, well, we would have selected him earlier, but we wanted to make sure he knew his place. Plus, we don't have to come out of our pocket as much as we did if we selected him in the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd round. 5th round, shoot, you're lucky to be on the roster, baby. But once again, the reason why I don't want to hear, oh, it's not about race, or how they're framing this. All of the talk of his arrogance, how he came in unprepared, how they didn't like the way he handled the interview process, how dare he choose not to work out at the combine, how dare he not. Listen, what's the difference between what Archie Manning did with Eli Manning during the draft process and what Deion Sanders did for his son, Shedeur? Archie Manning made a point to tell the Chargers that if they selected Eli Manning, he was not going to allow his son to play for that franchise, specifically because of the fact of all the years that he got beat up on wayward franchises and garbage teams. He was not going to subject his son to that, especially being the fact his brother was already in the league and the face of the league at that time. He wasn't going to allow his son to go to a crappy franchise. So he engineered to make sure his son got to a quote-unquote story franchise in the New York Giants. What's the difference? People are like, well, people don't like how flashy he is and showing off the Rolex and so forth. Okay. So because he actually comes from money, because he actually has probably grew up with the notoriety, with the fame around his family due to his father's personality, due to his father's career, that should be held against him. It should be held against him. Oh, rumors of, oh, he took out a loan because he was already counting his money before that. Do you think Shedeur Sanders is needing money? His family is worth millions. If he chose not to get on a football field, he would still be well off in life. The fact that he's chosen to follow in his father's footsteps and go on the gridiron when he could literally probably do anything else. And look, Deion has always been on record like, no, they're going to earn their money. I don't just. But the fact that the type of father figure that he's had, like, you know what? I want to be like my pop in every single way. And be unabashedly so. He's supposed to cower because it makes y'all feel uncomfortable, because it makes y'all feel like, oh, the power dynamic is off kilter. So y'all did the one thing y'all knew y'all could do. And like, you know what? We're going to show this mother effer who's the boss. We're going to make sure he comes in on his knees, or at least we're going to try to make sure he comes in on his knees and not on his feet with his head held high. What they did was dirty. And everybody talk about, well, matter of fact, I'm going to read this. I'm going to read an excerpt from this article on ESPN.com about, quote unquote, what caused Sanders' slide in the draft. Sanders' lack of top-end talent left him without an NFL home after day one. The slide out of day two is harder to explain. Clearly, the league spoke. Teams had a problem with Sanders and all that encompasses his draft profile. Yes, whispers persisted that his pre-draft process did not go well, particularly his interviews. But as few people inside the league have surmised, slides happen when talent doesn't match or surpass potential drawbacks. Teams hate distractions. If they felt Sanders' presence would be one for whatever reason, his ability at the next level wasn't intoxicating enough to offset all of that. And more than that, this was a logistical issue. 3 teams that made the most sense, the Giants, the Steelers, and the Saints, liked other options better. Once the third round hit, there's a scarcity of teams that were in need of a passer. Now, it goes on to say, why did the Browns select Sanders after drafting Gabriel from Oregon earlier in the third round? Picking Gabriel over Sanders in the third round was a widespread surprise, but the Browns trading up to take Sanders 2 rounds later usurped that. To general manager Andrew Berry, it came down to maximizing value with the pick at the game's most important position. Berry on Saturday acknowledged that he didn't enter the draft expecting to take 2 quarterbacks, but was flexible as it unfolded. Entering day 3, he had discussions with his staff about the possibility of targeting Sanders if he continued to fall in the draft. After teams selected multiple players whom the Browns were interested in, Berry said he ultimately decided there was too much value in selecting Sanders to pass up. Once it got to a point that it felt like it was a pretty steep discount, we felt like, especially relative to all the alternative ways that we could use the selector, this made the most sense. So what does that tell you without telling you? They would have selected him in the third round, as I'm blurred for no damn reason. They would have selected him in the third round, but they wanted to teach him a lesson. No, you're not going to come here commanding third round money. We're going to give you 5th round money, which is just a step above undrafted free agent money. And even though we drafted a quarterback in the third round, evidently we didn't feel confident enough about him to just say, you know what, he's in the running along with Flacco, along with Pickett. No, we're going to draft somebody else that more likely we thought it was better than Gabriel, but we just wanted to teach you a lesson, especially all the comments that said about you not wanting to come to Cleveland. That makes you wonder. They took a draft. They made a draft. They made a first round trade, moving from 2 down to 5 to get extra picks, but also they passed on Travis Hunter. Jacksonville moved up to get Travis Hunter. Now, that makes you wonder if they had intentions on drafting Shedeur all along and they did not want the combo of Hunter and Sanders taking over their quote-unquote team, taking over their quote-unquote franchise. They didn't want Jackson State and Colorado to become Cleveland Browns University. Which once again speaks to the power dynamic. There was a statement. I think I think it might have been Colin Cowherd that said that Brian Daboll interviewed Shedeur and he felt that he was unprepared and did not like his attitude. He didn't like being barked at. Because at the end of the day, I'm a man just like you're a man. I know. Listen. I know the culture in the NFL is borderline military, but at the end of the day, I don't work for you. Yeah, I'm coming for a job. I'm quote unquote having a job interview, but having a job interview doesn't give you the right to bark on me. I'm a grown ass man. I'm a young man. You're a grown ass man. You're not gonna talk to me any type of way because you're gonna be my head coach. Fuck you. So that kind of just ex-nay the Giants out of contention. Plus, they already had, let's cook 'em, Russ. Let's cook. Sure, I swear he's almost like Walter White from Breaking Bad. Let's cook. Time to cook. And famous James Winston. But yeah, they did Shedeur dirty, and I'll hold steadfast to that. Now it's on Shedeur to keep that chip on his shoulder and show all these mother effers wrong, prove all these mother effers wrong, and to keep the faith in that look, he's going to be him. It's not he doesn't have to live his life for y'all approval. He doesn't have to live his life for the NFL's approval. He know who he has to live his life for, whose approval he needs. And best believe that whole family works in unison with that. So to me, all it did was just uncover the ugly truth about the NFL. That for those who weren't indoctrinated in how the NFL gets down. So yeah. Shannon Sharpe. Man. I'm still debating on exactly how hard in the joke department I'm going to go. But I'm going to give you a little background for those who don't know. This is courtesy of People magazine. I'm going to go to the periodicals, not the sports. No. I want to go to the salacious shit. Shannon Sharpe accused of anally raping woman in lawsuit. He demanded complete control. Shannon Sharpe has denied allegations. NFL Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe has been accused of rape and sexual assault in a lawsuit filed by a woman in Nevada State Court. The plaintiff, at the time, using the name Jane Doe, alleges that Sharpe, 56 years old, raped her on multiple occasions over the course of a nearly 2-year rocky consensual relationship. The woman alleges that Sharpe also recorded their sexual encounters without her consent and shared the recordings with others. A woman can say yes to consensual relations with a man 99 times, but once she says no even once, no means no. The complaint states. Defendant Shannon Sharpe, a man who is accustomed to getting what he wants, completely fails to understand that basic concept. The woman says she met Sharpe when she was 22 years old at a gym in Los Angeles. The lawsuit recounts a subsequent alleged incident during which she claims Sharpe became violent with her and threatened to kill her after she showed up late in his home. He demanded complete control over her time and her body, expecting her to be at his house on his schedule at his command whenever he called. The suit alleges. The suit references the time in September 2024. Sharpe says he mistakenly began live streaming himself on Instagram having sex with a woman. The plaintiff states that this encounter was with another woman and that she was humiliated by the incident and began to pull away from Sharpe. The plaintiff claims that Sharpe subsequently began flooding her phone with calls, prompting her to leave the state of Nevada frequently, according to the lawsuit. Now, here's the ugly part where I'm not going to joke about. The suit then describes an October 24 incident during which Sharpe allegedly forced the plaintiff into a car and took her to her apartment. The plaintiff alleges that Shannon Sharpe forced her to perform oral sex before anally raping her. Sharpe grabbed her head, forcing her to look at him as she sobbed. He said at that point, "Look at this. Look at my arms. I got chills. That's how good it is." And this is where I'm going to break from reading, and I'm going to insert my 2 cents here. Those who know. Those who don't, figure it out. See that? See the mana? See the goosebumps? I live for this shit. The mana goes to the veins, goes to the body of the final boss. I continue. In January 2025, the plaintiff claims that Sharpe asked to come to her apartment to give her a combined Christmas and birthday present. Once there, the plaintiff alleges that in the complaint that he again sexually assaulted her and refused to wear a condom. This dude is crazy. Now, when it first came out, everybody shunned it because the lawyer in this case is being represented by Tony Busby, a high-profile lawyer based in Houston, who has also represented clients accusing P. Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs, and NFL quarterback Deshaun Watson. And he also has a defamation lawsuit against him filed by Jay-Z and Beyonce, or should I say Sean Carter and Beyonce Carter Knowles, or Knowles Carter, or whatever you want to say it. Now, if that wasn't worse, if that wasn't bad, audio came out with the woman and Shannon Sharpe having a conversation in which he apparently threatened to choke her. In the recording, a woman who the attorneys identify as the plaintiff tells Sharpe not to manipulate her. "If you say that word one more time, I'm going to choke the shit out you when I see you." A voice resembling Sharpe, and Sharpe has admitted to it after. After a pause, the woman says she doesn't want to be choked. And Sharpe replies, "Yes, you do. I don't think you got a choice in the matter." Which is like crazy. Like really crazy. Like this is ridiculous. Hold on 1 minute.
Like get mad at, and you're just gonna hang up on me. So I feel like
I'm not gonna hang up on you. What do you do?
What does that even mean?
Nothing yet. You want to be to me now, so
I don't want to be. Don't manipulate me.
if you say that one more time, I'm gonna choke you out of you when I see you.
I don't.
You know what?
Well, I don't want to be choked.
Yes, you do. I don't think you have a choice in the matter.
Yo, I don't care what kind of freaky. I don't care what kind of freaky stuff they have on the side. First of all, there's so many layers to this, and I'm not even going to spend but so much time on this. Number one, dude, you're 56 years old. You're a millionaire. That's how you get your rocks off? By getting someone that's pretty much your daughter's, old enough to be your daughter, 22, 23 years old. I don't care what she does on the side. I don't care if she's the only fan model or nothing. But that's what you do? That's how you get your shit off? By, I mean, it's been said that Kat and Monique told him, like, stop messing with these young broads. You know, he's been on record during his podcast, Club Shay Shay, with Ocho. Yo, Ocho, I took that blue tablet. Ocho, man, man, it was almost ripping out my skin, Ocho. Listen, I had him going crazy, Ocho. And Ocho like, where that's what it's about, Yeah, man, shoot, I'll take a couple, this, that, and third. Yo, man, listen. This is the last thing I'll say. This is classic example of working themselves into a shoot for all my wrestling fans out there. I remember Shannon Sharpe from Savannah State. You know, I was tight end for X amount of years with the Denver Broncos. And I won 2 championships with the Denver Broncos. And then I went to Baltimore and I won another championship with Baltimore Ravens. And then I decided to try to get in the media career. But, you know, it was almost short. It was almost short term because when I was on CBS, they didn't want me to have the microphone in my hand for more than 30 seconds because I talk like this. And then what I did was I grabbed myself up by the bootstraps and I got myself together. And then when I was asked to be on First Take a couple times with Skip, and then when Skip flew the coop, he called me and off to the race we went. But also, he became a caricature. Remember coming on Undisputed with the do-rag, with the black and mild, with the regular Henny. Like, listen, I'm not saying that he didn't imbibe the cognac, but it wasn't the regular Henny. He was drinking the Louis the 13th Henny. The really VSOP Henny. He wasn't even drinking Privilege. But he wanted to be, that's when he got the character, the Unk. Like, yeah, I was smoking that spliff, drinking my yak, you know, getting these biddies. He became the character. But after a while, it's like, dude, you 56. And listen, I'm not going to be on some act your age stuff. Like, to each his own. Like, I'll be 49 this year. And in a lot of ways, sometimes I don't feel like I would go out. I'm 49. I'm going to be 49. And I know for the large majority of my life, I didn't act like I was in my 40s. But that's neither here nor there. We're not talking about me. We're talking about this cocksucker. When you start betraying something that you're not, but you're more in character because this is what's garnered your fame and fortune, then sometimes that bleeds over into your personal. You start becoming the character 24/7. That supposed, oh, I made a mistake and went live on Instagram while I was when I was coincidentally, right after people started questioning his sexuality, talking about Shay Shay, like, yo, how grown ass man gonna be called Shay Shay? Why you walking like that? Yo, why you on first take and having them put the makeup on and he looking like an old girl from Norbit. Looking like Medea. Looking like Shay Shay for real. Shay Shay LaFont. So when you gotta start pulling out stunts. You gotta start pulling out pranks. You gotta start trying to live up to that character that has garnered you all this fame and fortune. For what? Oh, now everybody throwing you the panties. Everybody throwing you the ass. All ass ain't good ass. You should know that. I mean, we acting like we talking about somebody who just came in the money. He's had money for years, for decades. He was in the league. He know how to move. What? Like, what's different? It's almost akin to the fact. This is what it reminds me of. People forget from where they came from. People forget how to move because of this. The screen, the video, the views, the likes, the clicks, the fame, the fortune, the money. People forget how they, especially people of a certain age, forget how to move. Why do you think all these things are so popular now? We got, back in the days, you didn't talk about, and I'm not even talking about illegal stuff. This is just certain stuff you didn't talk about in front of others. There's certain stuff that you kept to yourself, you kept to your circle. Now people go on podcasts. Yo, back in the days, yo, I used to have the hammer and blah blah blah. And like, dude, are you old enough to know better? People blame Vlad for nobody. So you choosing the bag to go on Vlad to talk about all the stuff that somebody your age know better to do, or the rappers, or the gangsters, or the thorough dudes, mesmerized by this. Like, for years, I didn't want my face on screen for various reasons, but basically because I was ingrained. I'm from such a cloth that was like, listen, all right, I'm going to talk, but y'all need to see my face. I mean, shoot, my brother used to be like, you're not giving me no pod. Fuck a pod. No, I'll chop it up with you. I'm not chopping up on the pod. Listen, I'm not going to knock it. Like, that's what you do, and I enjoy you. But that's not me. And you don't try to get me on, don't try to sneak me on a pod, nothing. Don't try to record me, nothing. Of course I wouldn't. You know? Of course I wouldn't. I think when I realized like that would, I mean, I already knew, but I didn't ask him. No. I would have loved to have him on. But no, that's just the dynamic of, we come from an era before all this. So no, nobody needs to know who I am. Nobody needs to see me. Matter of fact, nobody even really needs to know my name. And you got this cocksucker. Like, he doesn't know better not to say certain things. And I'm not saying just the fact of whether it was consensual, whether it was out of anger, whether it was, what, you really don't think somebody's not recording you when she know you on 10, talking about, yo, I'm going to choke the shit out you when I see you? No, you're not. Yes, I am. Better ask somebody. Like, he became the 2025 version personification of Mandingo. Yeah, I'm gonna put a black baby in you. You want this black dick in you. You want me to put a black baby in you. Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you serious? You want to be the black buck? Yo, I remember in high school, because we were stupid. We would try to see who's the real Mandingo. I'm the real Mandingo. You're not the real Mandingo. I am the real Mandingo. Homie, one of the homies, which go, was like, yo, what up? You the real man? I'm the real Mandingo. But yeah, Shannon Sharpe. Yo, you're a fool. You're a fool. You done probably cost yourself a particular bag. And if you get out of this unscathed, I think they said he offered 10 and she turned it down and she went to 50. She's like, if you offer me 10, at least I know I can get 25. That shortchange me. Look at me. Does this look like a $10 million broad? Yeah. Don't know. Yeah. Well, people, that brings us to the end of another edition of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast. I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all for making me the podcast y'all choose to view and the podcast y'all choose to listen to. When I will be back, I don't know. I would try to be back next week, but like I might have mentioned in one of my mini episodes that I dropped during the lead up in the aftermath of WrestleMania, I'm leaning toward going every 2 weeks of doing a formal podcast, a formal episode, a formal Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph. It all depends on time, space, location, and mood. I ain't gonna lie. But like I said, since playoff season has begun and I just neglected to do any type of playoff preview, I'll more than likely I'll be back next week with another episode detailing the victories or the follies of the New York Knickerbockers. I will probably touch on my New York Metropolitans, who have the best record in MLB, the best record in baseball, even though they coughed up a 7-1 lead against the Washington Nationals. I started recording. We was up 7-1 in the 6th inning. Right before I pressed record, I looked, I got the notification, and it said 8-7 Nationals final. I'm like, what the? But we're still the best team in the league. And we're the best team in New York, more importantly. Yes. And that's without our 700 million man actually balling out. But the polar bear and Francisco Lindor are doing the damn thing. So yeah, I'll probably talk about my Knicks, probably talk about my Mets. And like I said, for all my new viewers, my new subscribers, I will dip my toe back into the wrestling waters and give you my thoughts of the week. And I think that's what I'm going to start doing for the foreseeable future, especially as the spring turns into summer and the sports landscape gets a little drier, because like in another month and a half, or in my case, probably another month, only thing I'm going to have to talk about sports-wise is baseball. And as much as I like my New York Metropolitans, I ain't talking about them every damn week. So what I'm planning on doing, and I'm going to try to hold me to it, and I'm going to try to hold myself to it. What I plan on doing is having at least one segment per episode devoted specifically for wrestling. because I'm not going to be like one of those. I'm not going to be like Vince McMahon and just totally ignore the audience for what they came to see. I have a portion of the audience that don't give a fuck about wrestling. But evidently, and gratefully so, I do have a large portion of my audience that are here for the wrestling. Also, before I go, please press the notification button, press like, subscribe if you haven't already, because I will be continuing my WrestleMania Memory series. I'm currently up to WrestleMania 9 just came out yesterday. I took a break for the WrestleMania 41 lead up. But listen, I'm not gonna leave y'all hanging. Not gonna leave y'all hanging because it's kind of therapeutic for me to remember exactly what I was doing at that time, even though right now I'm getting up to the part where I'm like, shoot, 18, 19, 20, where kind of wrestling fandom kind of fell off the cliff. But check out WrestleMania Memories, episode 8, going over WrestleMania 9, and I will explain what's to come in this long, long journey toward getting up to date. So, yeah. And also, before I really forget, this guy.
What we gonna do? Drive around, raise the sunroof, drive loud. We gonna come through, cause we got no time to waste.
Why is that happen? Let's try it again.
What we gonna do? Drive around, raise the sunroof, drive loud. We gonna come through, cause we got no time to waste. Gotta rap where we come from. Ain't a fight that we could ever run from. Tell your girl she can kick it if she wants some.
You know what kills me? That last part. Tell your girl she can kick it if she wants some, because we got no time to waste. Listen, I'm sorry, Tyler. I know the thoughts and views of that song don't go over to you, but being the fact that I just talked about Shannon Sharpe, tell your girl come kick it if she wants some, because we got no time to waste. Like, there's so many ways to have that interpreted. I don't know. But the reason I bring that up, the season finale of 4AZ, recapping the season finale of Abbott Elementary, is out now on the YouTube channel of 4AZ Teach, where me, Tyler McDowell, and Sarah Beth wrapped up the season in a perfect bow. And I'd like to thank each and every one of the people who made that episode the most viewed episode in the short history of 4AZ. And I'm so glad to be a part of it. I'm so glad to be a part of something that Tyler has been a brainchild of. I'm so glad to actually have that little community of me, Tyler, and Sarah just chopping it up over a show that we both love and respect. And please check out the newest and the season finale of 4AZ on the 4AZ channel on YouTube. And
now, gimmick infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blanken, TMB, if you will. It is Sunday as we record this. I'm still kind of tired from the first week back, but Tyler, how we doing?
I bet you are, man. It was quite the weekend. I'm doing great. I was telling you on Friday night, I caught up with one of my best friends from.
Yes, please check out my brothers from Gimmick Infringement, Winchester and McDowell, each and every late Sunday night, early Monday morning on the YouTube channel of the 19 Media Group, where they recap the latest week in professional wrestling, pop culture, bachelor talk, trap tale, and the whole nine. And last but not least, please check out
to Hip to the Games, the podcast for you, the basketball junkie and the hip hop head. I'm your host, Desmond, and I too have had hoop dreams and enjoy the beautiful genre of hip hop and its history. Together, we will enjoy some of the greatest albums, songs, artists, players, moments, teams, and so much more, while even mixing the two on occasion, all in my hope that you remember why you love both or either of these to begin with. You'll soon understand that Hip to the Games is more than just a podcast. It's a lifestyle. And if you were looking for a platform that combines both basketball and hip hop, you've come to the right place.
Please check out the young OG himself, Desmond Powell, from Hit to the Games. Drops each and every other Friday on the YouTube channel of the 19 Media Group. He is fully engrossed in the NBA playoffs. Please check out his preview with his brother Devon and their close friend. And I'm blanking on the name, so please forgive me, but please check him out. And regardless, check him out each and every other Friday, which I know is an oxymoron, but each and every other Friday on the YouTube channel of the 19 Media Group for Hip to the Games. Yeah. So I think that's it for the plugs. Oh yeah, one last thing, and I'm going to say this publicly, so I hold myself to it because I don't like being I don't like contradicting myself, and I don't like saying things. So I'm going to speak it into existence. For everybody who remember, I said I was going to have another part for year 2, the understanding my quote unquote mixtape that I dropped via SoundCloud the end of last year, and you didn't hear nothing about it, right? Because I started thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? When I start writing and started recording, it was totally different than what year 2 was about. So stay tuned within the next 2 weeks or so. I'll let y'all know exactly when it comes out. But stay tuned, because I will be dropping another quote unquote mixtape entitled 30 Months. Yeah. 30 months. If you decide for 30 months, that's 2.5 years. And I'm going to commemorate 2.5 years with mixtape. Right now, I don't think I'm going to add to it. I think it has about 9 to 10 tracks. Hopefully they get past the copyright people, because they are freestyles. But so be it. So yeah, please be on the lookout for 30 months. Mike Steph, 30 months. Mike Steph, 30 months. Mike Steph, 30 months. And counting. Like 100 miles and running, you know. Up there, crazy nigga named Ice Cube from a nigga with an attitude. I don't know why I just did that. You know, it's time for me to get out of here. So without stringing this along, let me get out of here, because I'm actually gonna get out of here before the 90-minute mark. So you got 30 months and you got 88 minutes. 88 minutes and counting. And if I keep on rambling, it's going to be more than 90 minutes. So I'm going to get out of here. So until next week, yeah, I'm out of here. Goodbye. Babe, you have anything to say to the masses? You heard my wife. She don't got nothing to say. So that's really a goodbye.